GR Stories is the living engagement of the Grand Rapids Public Museum with the history, spaces, and people of our city. GR Stories extends the mission of the museum beyond its walls and into the living places and stories of our community, between the physical artifacts of the museum and the living culture of those that have made West Michigan home.
Buenos dias. Good morning. Welcome to the Grand Rapids Public Museum's GR Stories. GR Stories exist to create forums for our community to learn about the people and places that have created our city. Today we are speaking with longtime community builder Lea Tobar, who also happens to be my mama. Grand Rapids would certainly be a different place today were it not for the contributions of Lea Tobar has made to our city.
Thank you.
We are going to have a conversation to kind of learn more about your journey and your story and the work you have done and the footprints that you have made. My name is Ruth Tobar. I am the daughter of Lea Tobar and Felipe Tobar. My mother's Puerto Rican. My father was Mexican. So I have those both cultures. My main work now is working with the Puerto Rican Cultural Committee to make sure we help young people finish college.
I am Lea Tobar. I came here in 1961. I am a community activist, and I have been dejando huellas, leaving footprints as I go along in the road. That's who I am.
Before I say anything, I just want to say it's such an honor to be here with you today.
Oh.
Thank you, both of you. So my name is Jessica Cruz. I came to Grand Rapids from Puerto Rico in 1990. I've always been very passionate about education, community, and social justice.
So between Jessica and I, we're going to ask you different questions on different topics.
I know you're from Puerto Rico. I've known you for a long time. I don't know too much about what your life was like and what brought you here. Can you start there? What was your life like in Puerto Rico as a child?
Well, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I am a church person. I was raised in the Baptist church. As a matter of fact, by age 15, I was a missionary in my church. And that gives me my north in life, my faith. And my mother, when the term social justice didn't exist, my mother was doing that. So I learned from my early childhood about servicing people, about being empathetic about, different situations in life. And that built me the person who I am today. So I came here in July 7, 1961. I still remember the day because I developed a tropical illness. And my father, who have his, economic, desenvuelto, ¿cómo se dice?
Resources?
Yeah, money, resources, sent me to UFM hospital for treatment because they say that they can cure bilharzia, which was the disease that I developed in my intestine. So in that process, I had a sister here in Grand Rapids. So I came here before I went to the hospital. She took me to a church, Baptist church. It was called Mexican Baptist Church in those days. And the pastor used to be Felipe Tobar. And we met that Sunday, and we fell in love. And 10 months after, we got married. Wow. So I didn't know anything about Mexicans. He didn't know anything about Puerto Ricans. But God knew what he was doing. So we got married in Puerto Rico. He went to Puerto Rico, asked for my hand. At the same time, we got married, came back to Grand Rapids. We have 4 kids in 3 years because I have twins. So it was really fast. So we start raising the family. He left the church because he need to work and to ganar dinero So he started working at the Pollyanna Bakery. That is no longer with us. And then he found a job at General Motors. From there, he retired. I didn't know English when I came here. When I was raising my kids, I didn't know English. My husband had to go with me to, to be the interpreter, with the doctor and other things that I have to do. So in the way I learned a little bit English, I'm still learning. So in 1975, I started working with the public schools, Grand Rapids Public Schools. And the Grand Rapids Public Schools gave me the opportunity to abrir caminos, to open the road. There is a poem by the Spanish author Antonio Machado. He says, "Caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar. Walkers, there is no path, you make the path as you walk." So that's what I did for so many people, so many students in the Grand Rapids Public Schools. If I got in trouble many times, yes, because opening those roads wasn't easy, but I did it. So after my BA degree, I went for my master's, finished my master's, and have better jobs and better opportunities to serve the community. So many of the students that I touch during my time in the public schools are today leaders. One of them is Jessica Cruz, Dr. Jessica Cruz. My kids, they went to public school, so I was somehow the counselor of my kids. And many others, Omar Cuevas, Jorge Gonzalez, Cesar Gonzalez, Jackie Hernandez, Nancy Pagan, Isabel Lopez, many others that I am still, helping and opening roads, opening paths for so many other people. The Puerto Ricans in Grand Rapids, I think I was the only one that went to college. Because my mother used to say, my mother never went to school, but my mother said, I want my kids to go to school and graduate and have good life, but never forget where you came from. Mm-hmm. So I have that in the back of my mind, I was talking to Tony Baker before about being humble, mm-hmm. and that I think my upbringing, I have the humbleness turn in the back of my mind always. I will never feel better than anyone, but I don't feel inferior mm-hmm. to anyone. I feel equal. And that was my mother taught me that, feel proud about who you are, no matter where you get in life. Always remember that.
I love that because I love knowing the influences and the key people that shape someone's journey.
Yeah.
And I love hearing specifically about your mom and Felipe. And that I didn't know that 10 months later, that's when you got married. Wow,
yeah.
What a story.
Yeah, and that gave me the opportunity to be active in the Mexican community here. Mm-hmm. About 2 years ago, the Mexican consulate gave me an award for being present in the Mexican community and serving so many Mexican students. So I also belong to the Mexican Heritage Association. Mm-hmm. And I am really active because I have 4 Mexicanos in my house. So, not because I have 4 Mexican in my home, because I love the culture of Mexico. Mm-hmm. And my husband was really proud of being a Mexican. So he passed away 5 years ago next week. But we always keep that. Look at her with a Mexican.
Beautiful.
So it's it's in us, mm-hmm. and I am really proud to be present in the culture, in the diverse culture that we have in Grand Rapids.
It is a really beautiful thing. I remember when I came, I was really grateful for the community that was here. I didn't speak English either. And we were grateful to have support from so many different areas. I remember hall school at the time, now Cesar Chavez. Now Dr. Raul Isasi, he was Mr. Isasi to me back then, and it was just so wonderful to have a principal that spoke Spanish and could help us navigate those systems. I was really grateful for the Mexican community and the Puerto Rican community that was already here at that time, yourself included.
Dr. Delia Fernandez Jones has kind of raised the awareness about Grand Rapids being a Mexirican city. When I first saw that, I was like, I felt so, like validated, What was it like to raise a Mexirican family?
Well, it was an enriched way for me to be a better person. I never, in my house, if you go to my house, the decoration is Mexican Puerto Rican. If you open my fridge, you're going to find tortillas and chile. That's a staple in our house. So it was everybody felt enriched by the merging of the two cultures. And the most important thing was, my husband always respected my Puerto Rican culture, and I respected his Mexican culture. There was never a question or making fun about it or laughing about it, or it was like a mutual respect. So my kids and my grandkids, they have that. They feel so proud of being Mexican Puerto Rican. They love the el abuelo, and they.
All the 5 generations love their abuelo, who is my father, in Mexicano. And 2 of my nephews, their middle names are Felipe. So that's the biggest honor that they could ever give to my father. But yeah, my mom, you and dad were married for 57 or 6 years before he passed away. It's a long time.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Okay, I just want to interject. My father was like Tony Croato. Tony Croato is a really beloved singer who was born in Argentina of Italian ancestry, and he became Puerto Rican. I feel that same way about my dad. He was so beloved in Puerto Rico, and he loved Puerto Rico.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when he passed away, we put a Mexican flag in his casket. Mm-hmm. And some people came to me and said, Lea, why Felipe have a Mexican flag in his casket? And I said, because he's Mexican. He's Mexican? Oh, I didn't. I thought he was Puerto Rican.
That's funny.
So, he loved Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico loved him.
Yeah.
And because of his faith, my mother was a really religious person. Mm-hmm. Whenever we went to Puerto Rico, they sat down on the porch, talking about the Bible, about the walking with Jesus Christ, and they have fun talking to each other. And my nieces and nephews in Puerto Rico, love him. When he passed away, they couldn't, it was really hard. Mm. And so, being living with a Mexican for 57 years, I learned the culture, the history. He loved history. I mean, he talked to me about the revolution, about all the presidents, about what happened with Hernán Cortés went to Mexico and conquered, blah, 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 all those things, because he loved his heritage. And me. I love being Puerto Rican. I am so proud of being Puerto Rican. And in 2014, we established the Puerto Rican Cultural Committee. We are going to be celebrating 10 years next year, the 24th. And the people have embraced that concept so well. Mm-hmm. When I ask them for money for the celebration, I don't have any problem. They said, yeah, of course, because they said that, so sometimes the non-Latino people have myth and ideas about, Latinos. So one of our vision and mission is to erase those bad notions that people have about Puerto Rican. Puerto Rican, we talk with our hands. You see me here, moving our hands. And when you see two Puerto Ricans speaking, people think they are fighting because we are moving their hands and, the voice. And that is, one of our traits, to be active in our conversation. My family was key also because I didn't know too much English. My kids, they were small kids. They helped me with the English. They helped me with the papers. And my husband, many times husbands are obstacles or blessing. In that case, my husband was a blessing. He supported me. He said, Lea, it's too much for you, but, you can do it. He never said quit or, don't do it anymore. So, he was a key piece in the puzzle for me to advance. Nice. And my kids, I remember one day that, when I go to college, it was a sacrifice. I have 4 kids, 1 husband, and was working full-time. So one day I was preparing meat for the whole week because I used to do that. And I cut my finger. So I was taking classes at Grand Valley at the Allendale campus, okay? And I couldn't drive. So they drove me to Grand Valley at night because I was taking classes at night. And so everybody in my family had a degree in 1980 when I get my BA degree. Everybody graduated from college, not only me. And when I got the degree, I have a better job. I work for Junior College, now GRCC, for 5 years in the occupational training. I was a counselor. So my economics in my family start changing. My presence in the community was more obvious, in the community. People said, Lea Tobar, she came from Puerto Rico, and look at her at Junior College. So that was like an inspiration for so many people. So many people said, yo nunca me cogí pena. ¿Cómo se dice eso en inglés?
I never felt sorry for myself.
I never felt sorry for myself. 4 kids, 1 husband, working full time. But I continue.
I remember a group of us, and I don't remember what year this was, but I remember we went to your house. And I want to say it was for the holidays. And I remember feeling like, oh, this is really nice that we get to be in a more familial kind of context, even though it was an academic, or something that came out of the school, but that we were able to come out of that space and support each other in a very personal, familial context. And that didn't happen very often. So I remember being appreciative that we could kind of create community together in school and outside of school. And that was just a different approach, and I think it aligned more with how we are as a community. I would now call that very culturally relevant. But that meant a lot to me, and being able to connect. And it wasn't like discussions about grades, for instance, but it was discussions about supporting one another and what our goals could be. And it was all, I felt that informal aspect in a very beautiful way. And so, again, the memory that always comes to mind when I think about that was going to your house, which I think may be the same house, right? That Ruth and I remember meeting Ruth in your home one time, too.
I think it might have been.
In Weatherspoon?
Yeah.
So that's my main memory of that time, is connecting with the others there in a way that was very, again, culturally relevant. I don't know what I would have called it at the time, but now that's what I would say. And that memory really stuck out to me, being in your home. Very few people opened up their homes in that way, and you did.
Yeah, and I remember people telling me, Lea, be careful, don't take those students to students home. They're going to rob, and they're going to steal, and I said, no, they are not going to do anything. And I did that for many years, bringing the students. And I remember one of the leaders of the, when we start the group, so we have a meeting in one of the conference room at Central High School. So I asked, we should be called something. Let's put a name to this group. So the leader of the gang, the girls gang, I think she wants to tease me or whatever. And she said, Mrs. Tobar, let's call it Latin Ladies. I knew that was the name of the gang, Latin Ladies. And I said, yeah, we are Latin and we are ladies. Let's call it Latin Ladies, yeah. So we call...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So let's call it Latin Ladies. And I stayed with that group for 10 years.
Wow. The
gangs disappeared from Central High School.
Nice.
Because we empower the girls. I took them to my house. And I used to have a nice house in Kenwood. And, they felt honored to be in my house. Oh, you invite me to your house. I made them feel important enough for me to share, my home. And I invited people from the community, Latino, successful Latinas, to speak with them, the superintendent of school. Mm-hmm. I found monies always to have fiestecitas and, celebrations. So, it was Kimberly Mendez also belonged to the Latin Ladies. And what's her name? Let me see. La esposa de que era principal de la central. She's a nurse.
Glenda.
Glenda.
Yeah.
Glenda. Glenda also was part of that group, and she also remember. And what I did with the Latin ladies, I wasn't going to make them feel bad, judge them. We never have a meeting to judge them, that say you are bad, you belong to a gang. That was never mentioned. The only thing that remembered them about the gang was the name of the group, Latin Ladies. Mm-hmm. So when a few years passed, they felt honored to be a Latin lady. Not in the negative way, but in the positive way.
You flipped it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was the intention and the origin behind it. I wasn't in any gangs or anything like that. I never felt unsafe. I was also in upper bounds. I was always thinking about college.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that was part of the design to get folks that were, excelling academically, others that may have been struggling, and intentionally connect them to one another to create that space for them. I didn't know that.
And years after I retired in 2004, I saw one of the gang members in the Mexican festival, and she came. I forgot about her face, and she said, "Mrs. Tobar." I said, "Who are you? Remember that you took me from the gangs at Central High School? Oh, you belong to the Latin Ladies?" "Yes, I belong to the Latin Ladies, remember?"
Wow.
So that is powerful to me. That is the most honored thing I can receive. I don't receive plaques in my wall because I am not going to see them. Every time, like Isabel Lopez, every time she see me, she say, "Thank you. I owe to you that I went to college because you pushed me so hard that I went and finished my degree." That's el premio que me gusta a mí. And I'm still working for the public schools, leaving footprints. And when I die, I'm going to die one of these, I don't know, but people are going to say, "Lea Tobar helped me." Lea Tobar made me make a decision about better myself. So that's my, and my kids, I see my kids, they are good citizens, good people. I mean, I instilled to them the value of servicing. I remember one day that one of my daughters was doing too much for a person. I said, listen, you are doing, Mother, you taught me how to do that. So don't, So, making a difference in the Latino community have been for me a responsibility. I feel responsible. I went to college. I have the opportunity to go to college and to learn. So what I'm doing with the community is empower the community so they can do the same. I went back to school after I have 4 kids, so it's doable. Anyone can do it. If I did it, I didn't die. I didn't went crazy. So a lot of people can do it. So that's I hope this feel as an inspiration to students and to people in the community. My husband and I, open Camino, and we pay taxes. We serve the community. The knowledge that I received in college, I'm sharing this with the community. It's not only for me. My mother taught me, Lea, the blessings that God gave you are not only for you. You need to share those blessings. So that always in my mind. A lot of people don't like the term empower, but that's what I do in the community, empower the community. Because they said, somebody said that the more you know, the more power you have. Mm-hmm. If you don't have information, you don't have power. And I see that in our families, in Grand Rapids Public Schools. Our young people need to be trusted. Our young people need to be loved. Our young people need to be empowered. Our young people need to be, given the tools so they can be successful. Mm-hmm. And many people don't trust the kids. Okay? And that happened in the 80s, in the 90s. It's the same. The kids are kids. And kids need love and trusted and, that people believe in them.
I agree completely. Feeling that someone believes in you and gives you some kind of opportunity and pathway forward.
Exactly.
Trusting.
Exactly.
You said my keywords right there, trust and believing. And when people feel the kids, especially youth, if it's genuine, they pick up on that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with people in the community. Sometimes leaving your country is not easy, and people leave your country for many reasons: for economy, for health, for other things that. And now we are dealing with the immigration, and I can see when I call the families, they don't answer the phone at the first ring. So I call them back or send them a message, and then they call me back. Because you know why? They are afraid. Yeah. When I knock in doors, because I do home business still with, accompanied by someone, they look at the window, and if they don't know the person, they don't open the door. But if they see a person that they trust, they open the door. So, we need to be sensitive to our community right now, because we are going through that. And when I say we, I am part of the community. I am part of the suffering. And I have seen students cry because they have taken the mother or the father away. So, we need to be empathetic about what we are in the community. We might live in different houses with different jobs, but we are part of this community. Mm-hmm. Not to gain and not to take advantage of the community, but to serve. There is anxiety of hunger in many houses, anxiety of being taken away because of immigration, anxiety of losing the home because they don't have enough money to pay rent, because the rent is going escalating, in price. And we, the new generation, should be aware and intentionally say hola in the community. I'm here to sell. I'm here to, if I am available, if you need help. So that all the money that we receive is not to buy good purses, good shoes, or good tennis shoes. Once in a while we need to share our wealth to the most vulnerable people in the community. So.
Absolutely. Can I ask a different kind of question? It just kind of came to me as we've been talking about the city, over the decades. And I know the southwest part of the city has always been kind of a port of entry for newcomers and for immigrants. And recently, demographics are shifting. Growing up in Grand Rapids, I remember being predominantly Mexican and then Puerto Rican and then Dominican. Most recently, Guatemalan, I think, is the second largest group. I haven't looked at the most recent census data, but the last time I looked at it, that's what it was. And then working in the schools, thinking about what implications does it have for our work, right? And now we also see other languages, so not just Spanish, but indigenous languages from Latin America, like Mom. And that's a shift, right? And I think going back to being culturally relevant and how we support folks as they're coming in and trying to access education and other things. Given your experiences, like what kinds of, strategies might you recommend as we continue to adjust to shifting demographics and what that means for us, like language?
That is a good question. We need to, like I was telling one politician last week, we need to be present in the community, okay? We need to go to their celebrations. We need to go, participate in festivals, because sometimes we get very comfortable in our midst and we forget about some people. I mean, if I go to my church sometime and I see people in Michigan Street, in Lafayette, sleeping on the cold, and I say, oh my gosh, and I'm complaining because the heater it wasn't cold, hot enough. They don't have any heater. They don't have money to. The other day, a lady called me. I said, Mrs. Tobar, it was during Thanksgiving weekend. They cut my heater because I didn't have money to pay. She have 8 kids. Okay? I was talking to her, but I then went to my little office that I have and cry. I couldn't help it. I said, me, so comfortable with, we have so much food that we didn't know what to do with it. And these people, they didn't have any heat in the cold, Sometimes we need to forget about our comfort zone and go out and see. Don't read it in the newspaper. See what is going on in the schools, in the public schools. I am not going to mention any schools, but, when we go to a hard side area, people sleeping, what's going on? What can I do to help? To make Grand Rapids a better place to live. There is a statistic about, what is the best place to live in United States. Let's make Grand Rapids the best place to live, the best city. So people want to come here to Grand Rapids because we are good people, because we are good citizens, But
challenge accepted.
Well, I'd like to thank Tony Baker and the Grand Rapids Public Museum for this beautiful forum. Que para bien sea. Thank you. Lea, thank you. Jessica,
Thank you, Ruth.
appreciate it.
you're welcome.
It was my pleasure, my honor.
Yeah. And thank you, Jessica. You know how proud I feel about you.
Thank you.